They assured us they don't want to arrest anybody. We don't plan on nobody being arrested. This is a nonviolent, peaceful march.
The case of Marquise Jones in San Antonio, the case of Eric Garner in New York, Michael Brown in Ferguson.
Now here's what happens.
We're marching against police abuse and trying to bring about some changes in the country.
People united will never be defeated.
Forward! Together! Backwards?
Never! Really, this is about the Constitution at work.
In the spirit of Dr. King.
It needs to be a community effort on both the police department and the community working together.
Tell them!
I'm from Ferguson, Missouri. I lived in St. Louis, Missouri.
Tell them!
The impact of what has happened in Ferguson has transformed the entire world.
Black Lives Matter!
People for the last 133 days have been speaking up about police brutality and injustice.
Black Lives Matter!
Today we're standing up and we're saying to the world that San Antonio is cognizant and aware of what's going on, and we're standing on the side of justice.
Hands up! Don't shoot!
Joining in this peaceful protest today is an act of healing for our community, along with individuals of all types of races, genders.
I can't breathe!
And we are all affected by what we see here in our country and in community.
I can't breathe!
We see mariachi masses all over, but this is how it started. Last year, we celebrated our 45th year of being together. At first it was bigger. Some people come and other people go. It has never died down. We've always stayed about 25 in the choir and about 7 musicians.
The most rewarding part is being able to just share the music, I guess our family's traditions.
People that come over here, they say they get tears in their eyes. I did too when I first started. Now I've heard it so many times.
Every 20 minutes in Texas, there's an alcohol-related crash.
Things are not the same no more.
A statistic brought to life for Joe Flores. His 10-year-old daughter, Kaylee, and his ex-wife, Jessica Rodriguez, were killed by a drunk driver.
We've always had a problem with drinking and driving.
In hopes of curbing drunk driving, District Attorney Susan Reed implemented Bexar County's 24/7 no-refusal program. You refuse a breathalyzer, your blood will be drawn.
It is a slow process, but I think we're changing the culture.
Unfortunately, a lot of times we're dealing with fatalities. We're really starting to learn the magnitude of the problem. I am going to find that you did violate that condition.
The docket of Judge Lisa Rodriguez is full on a daily basis.
The majority of the cases that we had set for trial are DWI seconds. 9962 and 414.
Some offenders show up to court.
Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
While others never do.
There we go. They're all full.
File after file, County Clerk Jerry Rickoff shows us cases of violators. Nearly a third of these are DWIs.
Each of these represents, anywhere from $500 to $1,000 to the taxpayers.
The county clerk's office processes every single one of them.
We've got about 50 people working 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week.
The workload is stacking up.
Oh, it's very overwhelming.
And taking a toll on employees. Thousands of DWI cases are taking too long to close, some up to 2 years.
We empty the basket, the next day it's full again.
And with the successful mandatory blood draw program, more continue to pour in.
It's kind of causing somewhat of a backlog because we're having to wait for the blood results, and that takes a little longer.
I'm working with a third-party vendor, another lab. Hopefully that's going to come about very soon, to where we have a pretty immediate turnaround.
The biggest thing that we have learned from the mandatory blood draws is just the significance of the people that are out there drinking with very high levels of intoxication.
And the sad reality, some offenders are still driving, putting others in danger. The night Joe Flores' daughter Kaylee and ex-wife Jessica died, authorities say 26-year-old Christopher Lamar was drunk. He already had 2 previous DWI convictions. He's now facing murder charges. His trial date is set for February 15th.
You cannot ignore this problem. I mean, people are dying on the roads every weekend.
There are nearly 1,200 pending fugitive cases. The oldest dates back to '95.
This represents potentially millions of dollars in court costs and fines that the taxpayers have to come up with.
Some awaiting trial, others on bond, and several with warrants.
Do you see an end to this DWI problem in the county?
This goes on without end.
It just takes time, and we will get there. And the awareness of just don't drink and drive.
So wish you could hear her laugh.
Unfortunately for Joe Flores, time with his 10-year-old daughter was forever lost.
And my youngest, she cries and tells me, Daddy, that, her sister's not here.
Mayra Moreno, KENS 5, Eyewitness News.
Can't imagine that this is what it looks like now.
We've never seen it this low.
It's really sad. Really sad.
When Karen Tice Farmer was only Karen Tice, this lake was full. Back then she brought water skis. Today she brings a camera to snap shots of what was Medina Lake.
It's a fun lake to come to. Because before all the construction, it was easy to get to and during the week.
And it was cool in her house.
Gary Tice remembers those days.
When this lake is full, this is a busy place. You have to park your boat trailers all the way up there. This is all filled up.
You could walk up to the dock and...
Gary first introduced his daughter Karen to Medina, and his first trip up this way in 15 years leaves him nearly speechless.
Oh my. There should be water there, but as you can see, it's a sad sight.
Now for some perspective. I'm about halfway down a boat ramp at Red Cove Marina. At bank full, I'd be underwater right now, but this is completely dry. I have to go a pretty good ways to get to water. In fact, it's right down the rest of this ramp. At this point, I'm still about 200 yards away from a water line. Notice where the boats are. And again, it's still a good little hike to the water. Will this lake ever get back to what it was? A 4.5-year drought has taken its toll on this 18-mile lake.
It started going dry in the 30s.
And the business owners that depend on it.
I miss all our patrons. I miss everybody that used to come out here.
We've had scuba divers, when the lake was full, come from all over the country that heard about that, what we call the eye of the needle, and to dive through it when it was 52 feet deep. Now, my goats live in it.
Steve and Rox Bonahum own the Bedrock Resort, which sits right on the Medina Dam. They've been closed for 2 years. They blame it on a lack of rain, but also poor water management.
In '96, when we bought this property, the lake was 52 feet down. And because it is such a deep lake with an average depth of over 80 feet, it really, we could live with that. If they would have stopped and been conservative at that 50-foot level, we would still have a nice lake like Canyon Lake and some of the other local Texas lakes. But continually draining the lake, now we have a pond of water.
Even if you do get the rain, we're fighting an uphill battle.
Well, when we do get the rain and the lake fills back up, that's when we really need to conserve. It's too late now.
Mike Crandall owns Wally's Water Sports. With not much sport to these waters right now,
these gates open at the same time.
Mike's been doing two things: understanding the hydrology of Medina Lake.
The lake's level fell 16.7 feet.
And producing DVDs.
Negligent valve control plays an equally vital role. This is not a new argument. Lakeside residents have complained throughout the years that the BMA should shut the gates more often in order to help protect Medina Lake.
The BMA is the Bexar Medina Atascosa County's water control and improvement. They manage Medina Lake. These business owners say they're not managing very well.
What we're trying to do is show that there's some conservation that can be done in the future to help.
We never give up. We're just always very optimistic. One day it will rain and the people will come, and we'll hear those laughters, and we'll hear the boat motors, and we'll smell the barbecue pits, and people will have great smiles on their faces being, we're back.
If you didn't grow up coming here, you can appreciate the level that it's at.
Karen Tice Farmer hopes to come back, this time with her two boys, to show them what her dad, Gary, showed her: a thriving, full Medina Lake.
And I do have faith that it will come back. I think history does repeat itself, and I think, eventually it will, and hopefully, people will get to enjoy it in the way that we got to.